Hey, I'm Rob, and this is my wife, Rachel, and we are Next Gen Mobility. We're making this video to show you a little bit about who we are and our mission.
I know that a lot of people don't really understand where the transition went from James Van Crofton running it to you running it, but a little bit about the background is that several years ago, Rob was making YouTube videos and he and James just became really good friends. And because they were such good friends, Rob was using his channel to promote Next Gen Mobility. And in exchange, James was sending him wheels and things to review. And last fall, though, everything kind of changed.
James and he and I really became fast friends across the country, really, because at the time we were living in North Carolina, and he invited me at one point, kind of on a whim, to stay at his house, introduce me to his family, and go on the annual Los Angeles EUC tour. I became very excited about the idea and the business model of Next Gen Mobility because Next Gen Mobility is a company that is built to have the bare minimum of overhead costs, and in doing so, pass on the savings to the customer. And the whole goal is to really shake up the market to bring prices down industry wide. And I think he was very successful at it.
Well, and there's that adage of big enough to matter and small enough to care, that the size of the company provides an opportunity for you as an owner operator to participate in customer service at a level that bigger companies just can't do, and making sure that every customer is as happy as possible and gets a great product. I mean, I feel like James didn't want to compromise on the customer service side and the warranty support side of things, because to have something and have it be broken and not be able to get a hold of somebody or not be able to get the support that you need is just very defeating.
Right. Yeah. So I really was just a YouTuber who was really just a big cheerleader for Next Gen Mobility. I really wasn't getting paid pretty much anything. He just sent me demo wheels, and I was honestly making I was making more money promoting other EUC uh, vendors compared to Next Gen Mobility. But I didn't have that personal relationship that I had with James, and so I was always the one who would be promoting him basically for free as long as he sent me wheels for demo. I was pretty happy. As you said earlier, in October of 2024, everything changed, and he got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And as many of you may know, that is an extremely deadly form of cancer.
Mhm.
What he told me was that he was going to be closing up the shop. He said that he was not going to be accepting any more customers, and because you can't fight cancer, you can't go through chemotherapy, and you can't and run the business. You can't do both at the same time because
It's a lot of time. It's a lot of commitment.
right. Yeah, so I did what I think that most people would do for their friend in the same situation, and I said, "Hey, while you're fighting cancer, while you're doing the whole chemo thing, um, I will help you run the business." And honestly, I didn't really think how much time and effort it would be. I thought it was gonna be like a 50-50 thing for a while. The chemo, when it got into full effect, that it was gonna be more on me, but it turned out that it was basically on me pretty much 100% right from the start, which was pretty scary for me.
Getting thrown into the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. The business, while he was fighting cancer, was growing by leaps and bounds, and that's a wonderful thing. But meanwhile, the cancer was winning, and ultimately, in June of 2025, James lost the fight with cancer, and so that leaves us with one big question: what do you do with the business? What do you do with the livelihood of his surviving family. He has a wife and 4 kids that he leaves behind.
Well, and I think that it wasn't really even a choice. I don't think you ever even debated it. You just, well, we're going to keep this going because his family needs support. They don't have a lot in the way of means when the provider of their family is gone. When you're buying a wheel from Next Gen Mobility, you are not just supporting, a small business, but about 2/3 of the proceeds and the profits are going to James's surviving family right now. And it's a big deal. It's not um, something I would ever want to be faced with, having the father of my children and the provider all of a sudden be taken away from me and not knowing how I was going to provide for them. I really think that the business model, there's no way for it to not grow because you have a really decent savings and affordable prices compared to some other uh, vendors. And then, the after sales support, I basically witnessed this man answering the phone at all hours of the night. And putting all of his years of troubleshooting experience to work. And, Rob is not a shop, but he has so much expertise and knowledge that, there's never been a person who needed help troubleshooting that you couldn't figure out how to fix it. And
Or
and
at least know who to call.
or know who to call and subcontract with some really reputable good repair shops, but you have had wheels come back to you personally that
Yeah.
for some circumstances. I know that your entire platform is trying to make sure that every single customer is as happy as possible because when you're a small business, every customer counts.
Yeah, so let's talk about the warranty process. And at Next Gen Mobility, the after sales support is honestly identical to every other vendor in the EUC industry in the United States. So the way it works is that if you have an issue with your electric unicycle, something that proves to be defective or not working as it should, we will help troubleshoot with you over the phone, email, text message, telegram, whatever's convenient for you. And if necessary, we will either get the parts shipped rapidly to you from either the manufacturer, or we also have a robust inventory of the spare parts that you may need right here on hand.
And I'm glad you talked about the inventory because I know that some people are asking, oh, well, where are the pictures of their big warehouse and all that? It's a small business. And while we have about 1,000 square foot space dedicated to next gen mobility, it's also co-located with our home right now. And so, if you want to pick up a wheel locally, come on down, meet us, see our farm animals and dogs and children and all that. But we're not going to put that address on the World Wide Web for just anybody. And, we're operating as well and as efficiently as we can with our smaller space. And so it's not always the prettiest. It's always crammed full and we're playing Tetris and it's not pretty for Instagram or the internet, but we're trying to do our best to facilitate a move hopefully in the next year to a bigger space where we can have more square footage and I promise we'll make it as pretty as we can.
That's right. Next Gen Mobility is planning sometime in the nearish future to move to a larger warehouse space, something that is completely dedicated, yet still hopefully co-located with our home because who wants to commute? But we're hoping to expand to a significantly larger warehouse so we can better fulfill your needs and have a ridiculous amount of inventory available for you to buy anytime that you need. So why buy from Next Gen Mobility? The reason why we're able to offer the amazing prices that we do is because our overhead is pretty low. It's really low compared to our competitors. We don't rent out a huge warehouse and have a ton of people on staff that amounts to hundreds of thousands of dollars per year to just for payroll alone. And then we get to pass those savings on to you. And that's the secret to next gen mobility.
Well, and it's a little bit of a sacrifice too because we don't have a relief watch. It's not like we can say, "Okay, you employees take care of it. We're gonna go on vacation." I
What's
mean,
that?
yeah, was that I think the last camping trip that we took for a weekend, you had the Starlink out and you were sitting on the roof of the trailer trying to work because we were in the woods with very little signal. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's a big sacrifice, but hopefully next gen mobility continues to grow to the point where we can bring on some employees while still being efficient enough to keep the prices as low as they are. Next Gen Mobility is truly a company that is big enough to get the job done right and small enough to care. Rob is very gifted in his ability to problem solve and troubleshoot for after sales warranty support. And I'm really proud of the job that he's doing with all of that. And I'm just basically the background muscle. I'm helping with shipments and
She's the
doing.
backbone, not the background. She's the backbone of the business. And she doesn't get enough credit. I am not just next gen mobility. Rachel is the biggest amount of support that nobody ever sees. Arranging shipments for UPS, whether it's packing boxes by hand full of pads and next gen mobility stickers and receiving shipments, taking things out. Rachel is an integral part of this business, and she's really the unsung hero in this.
You're gonna make me blush. I don't think I deserve that, but I know that Rob takes it personally. I know business isn't supposed to be personal, but this is a very personal thing for both of us. But we want it to be successful, not only for our family, but for continuing support of James's legacy and his family, and to make sure that they don't have to worry, to make sure that they don't have to struggle. That's really what our mission is to provide for James's family for the foreseeable future and give it our all.
So, for that reason, we have a mission to complete and we're not going anywhere. So, don't take our word for any of this. Check out our verified ratings on Trustpilot. We have no control over what people say, and so you can get the real picture. We have a link in the video description that you can check out and see what people really have to say about us. That's all for now. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.